All right, today we're going to create a master detail report, but not a simple one. We're going to create a detail report for users, but each user is going to have 3 different sort of items that are going to be in the detail report. It's going to be a user report together with items they've created, items they own, and tasks that have been assigned to them. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up Visual Studio, and I'm going to create a new Forms project. Let's do Windows Form, and let's just call it Users. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a data folder to hold all of our data. Now, I'm going to add an Access database, and this Access database can be found in the DevExpress demos. By going to wherever the DevExpress 2010.2 demos folder is located, go to Components, Data, and we're going to do Issue List. There it is. It's going to ask us to create a data set, and we're going to do that. And we're only going to pull items, users, and tasks. Let me hit Finish. Now, this went ahead and created a data set for us, but let's go ahead and also name the relationships. So let's say Show Relations Label, and let's name it something useful. So Edit Relation. Notice that this is users can own items. So this is going to be Owned Items. This one is Created, so Created Items. And this is just User Tasks. Okay, so now we have this relationship all ready to go, where a user has items that they own and items that they've created, and we also have users with tasks that have been assigned to them. All right, let's create a report. Let's go New Item, Reporting, and let's pick the extra report. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bind this to the data set. This is the issue list data set. It's going to create an instance. We want to bind to users and the users table adapter. We don't need this for now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move the first name and last name over. When you hit the preview, notice that it loads it up just fine. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the detail report for items that have been created by this person. So notice that we use created items. Now, the reason why these names are so nice is because it got those names from the relationship over here. Let's add it. Let's do created items first. And let's make sure that, there you go, it has an items table adapter. So let's go to created items and let's get a name and a description. There you go. And to make it a little easier to read, we're going to add a band for the group and put a little label in there. And call it created items. We'll expand this all the way to the end and put this up here. All right, so now we have a created items detail. Let's add another detail report for owned items. Let's make sure that the data adapter is also set. We need a new one for items. And what we're going to do is we're going to move the same things over again. A name and the description. To make it a little bit more intelligible, we're going to add a group header. And we're going to copy this over here. And we're going to call this owned items. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and add the tasks. We're going to have a name of the task and a priority. Okay, and for simplicity, we're also going to add a group header. And we're going to call this tasks. All right, let's take a look at what we've done. The best way to do it is to look at this Report Explorer. The Report Explorer will tell you exactly the hierarchy of the report. So notice that we have the XR label, which is the first name and the last name. If you hover over it, it'll tell you. We have the detail report here, right? And in the detail report, it will tell you exactly what fields there are bound, again for the second detail and for the last. All right, let's take a look at the preview. There you go. Now, one thing that's slightly annoying is notice that some people have nothing. Others have owned items and tasks. And the only one that seems to have all three is this Tom Hamlet guy who has created items and owned items and tasks. Let's do something so that we can eliminate any display of this data if it doesn't exist. And the way to do that is there is a property called print on empty data source. We're going to set that to false. And we're going to look at it one more time. All right, that's looking a little bit more compact. Now, let's change the styles a little bit so that it makes a little bit more sense. What I like to do is I like to start at the top and let all of the styles filter down. So let's go to the font style of the report to set a general font for the entire report. I'm going to set it to Verdana. Let's do 12. Okay, notice everything changes because the report pushes the styles down to all of the XR controls. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some styles for the headers. To do that, we're going to go to Style Sheet. I'm going to add a style, call it header. I'm going to set the back color to something, let's make it a little darker, like that. I'm going to set the font again to Verdana, but make it a little bit bigger, make it bold. No, that's too big. Make it a little bit smaller. Let's go to, there you go, 18. And I'm going to change the fore color to white and set some padding up so that there's space in between it. And I think that is it. Oh, also the text alignment to the middle left. Okay, let me hit close. Now, what we want to do is we want to set that style for these little header bars. To do that, we go to Styles and set up the header style. Oops, I made a new one. Header. Very good. Now what we also want to do is we also want to create a different color for odds and evens. So let's do an even style. We'll just use this one. For evens, what we're going to do is we're going to change the background to this little hue right here so that we can tell the difference. And we're going to set the style of these controls, the even style, to even. Same with these guys. And same with this. Looks like we forgot one header. Let's set that up. All right, now let's take a look at the report. All right, it's looking a lot better. Now all we need to do is fix the name. Let's do that with a title style sheet. So we'll hit add, hit title, name it title. We're going to align the text over here. We're going to set the font to Verdana again, make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to make it italic. And we're going to set the back, we're going to set a border on the bottom, right? And we're going to set the border is solid. The border is going to be black, and it's going to have a width of 3. Okay. Let's move this over so that it fits in the whole region. Now we're going to set the style to title. Looks like we might need a little bit more space, so I'll move this over. And I'll move, looks like I've selected both, so we'll move this over, we'll move this over, and we'll put this back. Let's take a look. There you go. Now the last thing is to hook it up to the actual form and show it. To do that, I'm going to do a little button, drop it on, make it big, and have a show report. I am going to say user item report. Then I'm going to say report.createDocument, and I'm going to say report show preview dialog. Run it, and hit show report. All right, there it is. Users with items they've created and tasks that they have been assigned. All right, I thought we'd spend a minute taking a look at bookmarks and how to set them up. Now that we have this report, it'd be really easy to do that. Well, looks like these are a little bit too big. Let's fix that. Very good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the bookmark. We want the bookmark to have the first name of the person. Let's change the label to label person. And let's go up and change the data binding of the bookmark to be user's first name. All right, let's take a look and see what that does. Notice that each person now is in the document map. Now what we want to do is we want to link up the tasks, the owned items, and the created items. Let's do that. Since we're not binding this particular field to anything in the database, all we need to do is choose the bookmark text. When we go to preview, notice that it does put the created items, but it does not do the hierarchy properly. How do we do that? Let me show you. Notice that once we set the bookmark, there is a bookmark parent. Let's set the bookmark parent to the person label. Let's do the same with owned items. Set the bookmark to label person, and finally let's do tasks. And set the bookmark parent again to label person. Let's take a look. All right, notice again, because we're only printing when the data source has items, the same thing happens here in the document map. Remember, Tom was the only one that had all three things: created items, owned items, and tasks. All right, let's run it. There it is. All right. Thank you for watching, and thank you for choosing DevExpress.